do in getting this horse used to doing some groundwork is we need to sack the horse out to get it used to things that's going to be happening to it as it grows and develops. The reason we sack a horse out is to get it used to the different things we're going to ask it to do, to get it used to the saddle creaking on it, to get it used to the stirrups maybe banging on its side, and get it used to the saddle blankets and things that might happen different times during his life. First thing you want to do in sacking a horse out is to tie its leg up, and to do that we need to tie a bowline knot. We want to make a loop in the rope, bring the rabbit, which is the end of the rope, out of the hole, around the tree, and back down in the hole. Then we want to pull the knot tight. This type of knot allows us to get it untied if the horse were to pull on it and tighten it up, and it also will not constrict around the horse's neck. Once you've done this, take the slack of the rope and lay it underneath the horse's belly, so that when the hander leads the horse off, the leg you want to come up between the rope will step over the rope. As the rope comes up between the hind legs, you need to make sure it stays rather low. You don't want to bring the rope high up and run the risk of the horse spooking and kicking at you. Once you have the rope around the horse's fetlock, you want to gently pull the slack up so that the toe of the hoof is just touching the ground. Then as you tie that slack, simply make a half-hitch knot and allow the horse to relax and become used to this. The horse may step around as you see here as it fights the loop around its fetlock for a little bit, and then it will relax. Make sure you take the slack of the rope up and tuck it in the loop you have going around the horse's neck so it doesn't spook the horse in any way if the horse starts to fight the process that we're doing. Once the horse is settled, you begin to move down the side of the horse, rubbing on it, reassuring, and lift up the hind leg that has the rope around it. As you do this, take a lot of slack out of the rope and make another loop around the fetlock, making sure that you take enough slack so that you don't get your fingers caught between the rope and the horse's hoof. Then back up and let the horse relax and become used to his leg being tied up where his toe just touches the ground. This process is extremely effective on a horse that has not been handled very much. Another important step in ground training a horse is sacking the horse out. This is the process of getting the horse acclimatized to different situations and different things that might happen to it in its day-to-day life. One way of doing this is taking a feed sack or a blanket and introducing it to the horse. First thing you need to do is bring the sack up slowly and easily to the horse's face and let the horse smell of it. Once he realizes that there's nothing in there that's going to get him, then you need to slowly rub the sack, starting on the horse's neck. Rub it all over his neck, move down through his shoulder, getting the horse used to this noise and the rippling and the feel of the sack against the horse's body. You need to make sure you move all the way back down off the top of the horse's hip, come down the back of the hip and down his hind leg so he becomes used to this, while at the same time making sure that you keep an eye on the horse and see if he might do anything or step sideways and try to get away from the sack. Once he is totally used to the rubbing of the sack and is not flinching any, then you need to step back a little bit and kind of swing the sack at him or the blanket and kind of pop it against his side, while at the same time telling the horse whoa and easy and talking reassuringly to him, let him know that nothing's going to happen. As you see here, this is a typical reaction that we see when we start introducing the sack to a young horse. When we pop it against them, they kind of flinch. And you want to keep putting up against the sack against the horse like this until the horse begins to relax and does not flinch when the sack hits him or the blanket, whatever you might be using. And this is when the horse becomes habituated to that particular activity, becomes used to it, and is no longer afraid of it. Once this happens, then we need to move to the other side and do the same thing on the opposite side of the horse, making sure that we do things on both sides in equal amounts of time and equal proportion.